Hello again, everyone. Okay, so Blizzard has posted the first look at the Mountain Thane Hero tree that will be unlocking in the new expansion, the War Within expansion. This talent tree will be available for Prot and Fury warriors. As you can see here, Fury and Prot gets access to this, and they haven't shown us Slayer or Colossus yet. So I'm just going to tell you about Mountain Thane, this mock-up that they've revealed, and my thoughts on it. So, first off, the first thing that we get is lightning strikes. Damaging enemies with Thunderclap, Revenge, or Raging Blow, or Execute has a 10% chance to also strike a target with Lightning Bolt, dealing moderate nature damage. Lightning strikes also proc more often during Avatar. So I think the theme is really cool. You know, random lightning strikes proccing when you use your abilities. It just works very well with this Mountain King theme. This tree is sort of obviously based on the Mountain King from Warcraft. He had Avatar, he had Thunderclap, and he also Stormbolt. Those were the iconic abilities. So it makes sense for random lightning damage to also happen. I think there are new animations and spell effects as well that are added for Thunderclap and Avatar as well. There must be some spell effect when a lightning bolt procs as well, which is cool. Let's move down the left side here. So the first talent on the left side here. Oh, by the way, we will be able to talent into all of these talents. There are some choice nodes though, but all of these talents, we will be able to fill all of them. So Call of Thunder, it makes it so that Storm Strike, your Storm Strike or nature damage is increased by 5%, and Storm Strike damage ignores armor, and I'll get back to Storm Strike in a bit. It also increases Thunderclap damage by 50%. In addition to that, for Fury, Thunderclap will no longer cost rage, it will also generate 5 rage, and it will benefit from your improved Whirlwind and Meat Cleaver talents. This talent and this talent, meaning that you will be using Thunderclap instead of Whirlwind to cleave your next abilities. So basically it just works as an improved Whirlwind, where you would just do Thunderclap into 4 abilities, Thunderclap into 4 abilities, repeat forever. Just like you do Whirlwind now. Whirlwind doesn't get removed, so I guess there are situations where you will use both Thunderclap and Whirlwind, depending on what talent build you're running. But yeah, moving on. Thunderblast. So this is where Storm Strike comes in play. So Shield Slam and Bloodthirst have a 20% chance to grant you Thunderblast, which makes it so that your next Thunderclap becomes a Thunderblast and deals Storm Strike damage. So in addition to Thunderclaps dealing 50% damage all the time, when this procs, Thunderclap will ignore armor, which should make it hit pretty damn hard. I'm interested to see how much AoE damage you'll be able to do with Thunderblasts. Let's keep moving down. So this choice node is a bit weird to me. So this first one, Steadfast as the peaks, makes it so that Victory Rush increases your max health by 10% for 5 seconds. So it's like a mini rally whenever you use Victory Rush. But in what situation would this actually be useful? Would you use it before potentially getting one shot instead of using it as a self-heal? I guess in some situations you'd be able to use it for both, but it seems a little bit too situational for me. I think this passive one down here, the keep your feet on the ground, which makes it so that whenever you use Thunderblast, you take 4% less damage from any source. So 4% less damage for 5 seconds. That sounds universally better than this one, I think. But that could also just come down to tuning. But I think this one just is a little bit weird, and possibly they could just do something different with this one. Not sure what, but I think this isn't it, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just missing the points. Right, let's move back up to the top so we can go down the middle path. So Ground Currents makes it so that lightning strikes also deal low AoE damage. Damage reduced beyond 5 targets, of course, as with pretty much any AoE ability in the game at the moment. Next up, I should talk a little bit about this. I think it's okay. There's not much to say about this. Add some AoE damage to our Lightning Strikes proc, which is just kind of cool. Now, moving on to this one, I want to talk a little bit longer about this one. So Storm Shield makes it so that whenever you intervene a target, you give him a small shield for 5 seconds that absorbs magic damage equal to 3 times your armor, which sounds really small at the moment, because let's say you're Fury and you have 13k armor. This will be what? Around 50k shield? Magic damage shield? That doesn't sound very impressive. So maybe they just need to tune that, or yeah, or something. This talent does remind me of something like Safeguard that we had in Shadowlands, which reduced the damage that your intervene target takes for 6 seconds, and it was by 18% at max rank, which was really, really strong. I like being able to make plays with Safeguard in Mythic Plus, and I'm sure it made a lot of plays in PvP as well. So I don't know, I would like something closer to Safeguard, I guess. It would be really cool to be able to have some sort of skill expression through intervene. But then again, there's also another problem with this talent. You have to talent into intervene if you want to make use of it. And if you are going to talent into Thunderclap as well as intervene with, for example, this Fury M+ build I got here, right? Normally I would get rid of Crushing Force so that I can pick up more utility. Usually that's Fear. But if I need to pick up Thunderclap and intervene, I guess I could get rid of Fear, put that into Thunderclap. But what talent do I drop now in order to get intervene? I can't drop Barbaric Training because I want to reach Shockwave. I guess I could drop Sidearm to get intervene, but that's nearly 2% damage loss usually. I can't drop Bounding Stride because I need to reach double time to get dual wield spec. There's not really anything I'm willing to drop here. I guess I could drop 1 point in Overwhelming Rage, but then you don't get that rage headroom, which Fury often needs. So I don't know. I feel like perhaps they could give us Thunderclap for free somehow when you spec into Mountain Thane, because the spec literally is designed around Thunderclap. So maybe whenever you spec into this, maybe you can just get Thunderclap for free. Or alternatively, maybe Fury can get defensive stance for free. Because Fury and Arms, well, Arms gets defensive stance for free, and Prot gets battle stance for free. So perhaps it's time that Fury gets the same treatment. It usually hasn't been such a problem for Fury, because Fury can usually reach all the talents they want. But if they had to get Thunderclap as well as possibly intervene with this talent tree, maybe they need a little bit of help. Just something to think about, I think. Next up, Stormbolts is the other choice. And I think when we saw this on the BlizzCon reveal, I thought it looked really cool and I was quite excited about it. But the more I think about it, the more I think maybe it's not so useful after all, because let's say you're in Mythic Plus, a dungeon, right? Oftentimes, you'll be pulling more than 3 targets. Let's say you're doing a 5-6 target pull, and your main target starts casting something, and you want to stop the other 1 or 2 targets that are also casting. You use Stormbolt on the main target, as you should, and you hope that you just have to hope that the extra Stormbolts hit the correct targets, which I guess they won't reliably do. So I don't know when this actually is useful. It's also worth noting that it's only 2 seconds stun, not a full 4-second cleave. So maybe this will mostly see use in PvP, because the target counts in PvP would be much more appropriate for a talent like this. Can't see it being really used in Raid, maybe situationally. But yeah, in Mythic Plus, I don't see it being reliably picked. But then again, if Storm Shield stays in this, stays this undertuned, or lowly tuned, I should say, maybe you will just take Stormbolts anyway, because this choice node doesn't give you that much then. Moving on, we got Gathering Clouds, which just makes it so that your attacks trigger lightning strikes 15% more often. Or you can make it so that the lightning strikes give you more rage, which will give you more rampages, or give you more rage to spend as Prot. Shield slams, ignore pain, revenges, whatever you spend on as Prot. Sounds nice. And it also increases the damage of Revenge, Raging Blow, and Execute by 15%. Interestingly enough, there's only Raging Blow and execute here and here, there are more Bloodthirst nodes in this tree than... I mean, this tree does seem more Bloodthirst focused than Raging Blow and Execute oriented. Anyway, let's move on to the top right. So here, Strength on the Mountain. Shield Slam damage increased by 20%, which is huge for Prot. Prot will love that. And Fury gets 10% Bloodthirst and Rampage damage, which, again, it is quite a nice boost, especially for Rampage. Bloodthirst I'm not so sure about, because I think Bloodthirst as a baseline is kind of weak, right? So it needs more help. But let's move on. So next one is Flashing Skies. Chance for lightning strikes to critically strike increased by 5%, and their critical strike damage is increased by 10%. And there are quite a few talents on this tree that increase the damage of lightning strikes or improves them in some way. So maybe in some builds you will just go for full lightning strikes and deal a lot of passive damage that way. I'm sure Prot will love that, because the baseline damage of Prot will obviously be lower than Fury. But then there's also this one, Valajar Training, which would work with Prot, because Prot can kind of just use Ravager whenever they want. They don't need to line up with anything. But Fury wants to line this up with stuff. So for example, with a Ravager build, you would either play that with a Reckless Abandon or Anger Management build, right? So Anger Management makes it so that Recklessness and Ravager's cooldown is reduced for each, well, depending on how much rage you're spending, and they line up naturally. They are reduced at the same rate. So if you add Valajar Training onto it, you will desync your Ravager from Recklessness. But using Ravager without Recklessness, when you have something like Berserker's Torment talented, does not sound good at all. You do want to couple it up with all the cooldowns. Sorry, you do want to couple these two together. So desyncing them doesn't sound like a good idea. And then if you play with Reckless Abandon, then you kind of want all your cooldowns, all your 1.5 minute cooldowns to be used at the same time, because you can stack all of the cooldowns, for example, you know, Avatar, Thunderous Roar, Recklessness, and Ravager to boost, well, as much damage as possible. But with Valajar Valajar Training, you won't be able to bring Ravager down to 45 seconds so that it lines up naturally. At least I don't think so, because you would literally have to do 90 lightning strike procs in 45 seconds for that to happen. So yeah, I'm not sure about the purpose of this talent for Fury, but for Prot it definitely works. I guess for Fury you would just pick Flashing Skies if it stayed in this state, which is not the biggest deal, I guess. It's okay. Next up is Burst of Power. So Lightning Strikes makes it so that you have a 20% chance to make your next 2 Shield Slams or Bloodthirsts have no cooldown. 2 Shield Slams in a row feels really good as Prot. I like that. For Bloodthirst, however, 2 Bloodthirsts in a row isn't that exciting, but maybe it can be made exciting if the Thunderblast procs are impactful enough and feel good enough and are worthwhile. So yeah, I'm not sure what to think about this tree as Fury. So far, I really like it for Prot, but for Fury, it kind of just seems like an afterthought, kind of. Maybe with some more iteration, they can make it work better for Fury, but... Or maybe I'm just missing something. But anyway, let's move on to the last talent, the Capstone, which is Avatar of the Storm. Casting Avatar grants you 2 charges of Thunderblast, the armor-ignoring Thunderclaps, and resets the cooldown of Thunderclap. And then the next part here, it says, while Avatar is not active, Lightning Strikes have a 10% chance to grant you Avatar for 4 seconds. And I like the idea of this, but I don't like the implementation, because this is RNG on RNG, right? Because it's RNG to proc a Lightning Strike, and then there's an additional 10% chance RNG to actually grant the Avatar for 4 seconds. I think I would prefer it to just be reworked in some way so that it's just 1 layer RNG instead of 2. Just kind of feels bad if you have 2 layers RNG, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much... No, that's the tree. So, overall thoughts then. The the tree seems to work really well for Prot. I can't really see any issues integrating these talents into the current Prot talent builds and talent tree. It will force you down the Thunderclap route, which I don't personally mind, and maybe the Colossus path will make it so that you can choose non-Thunderclap paths. I don't know. We'll have to see. For Fury, however, there is some awkwardness with integrating this into the current builds. I'm not sure exactly what direction they're pushing us, but I think possibly an Annihilator build would work well with this, because this has a lot of things that focus on Bloodthirst. Thunderclap would work okay in Annihilator as well as a filler, and I assume that the Raging Blow talent, so Lightning Strikes, Raging Blow, Thorin's Might, Raging Blow, those modifiers should benefit Annihilator, because Annihilator replaces the Raging Blow, and in the class tree, anything that buffs Raging Blow buffs Annihilator as well. And again, this Ravager choice note, I'm not really sure what we are doing with this as Fury, but as long as we can pick this, I guess it's fine. But I would like this to be an actual choice for Fury, because I don't see it working at all with current Fury. Anyway, I do really look forward to seeing the rest of the talent trees, and I will be talking about them as soon as they come and go live. I'm especially interested in the Slayer one, because both Fury and Arms will have access to that. Of course, I'm also interested in Colossus, but this is the one I want to see. But yeah, that's all I've got, really. These are just, again, my initial thoughts on the tree. I'm sure there are a lot of things that I've missed, and maybe I will change my mind on. Let me know if you agree or disagree with things I've said, or if you got any more thoughts. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.